No, the cab driver incident, that was at night, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe between 1 and 3 in the morning. Because his girl had set him up through Chuck. Told Chuck what time and where he gonna be at and that he didn't have a gun. So we proceeded there, waited down the street, then got a phone call saying that he just called the cab. So I get up there on the corner and I'm there on the corner waiting to get them to go ahead and hey, here it is. And I waited hoping that by that time he get in cab and take off. So I didn't light it when he first came out. That's when I was supposed to lit it, but I didn't. Wait till he got in the cab, but then they just sat there. So I seen Chuck and them start coming. So I just lit the light anyway then. I said, oh shit, they coming anyway. So I pretended I was having trouble lighting the cigarette to get it going here. But they pulled up and started blasting at him. That's when the cab driver and the fool in the back of the cab got hit. Then a few seconds later, I felt like somebody was pushing me. That's me getting hit in the back, chest, arm, leg, and so forth. But they say that, oh, it was an accident. Seriously, that's what Chuck told me later. He said, man, you know that was an accident. But of course, then later on, he said, Boo said hit me. Then he said that he saved my life because Stacy wanted to shoot me in the back of the head when we was in the car. I'm like, when was this? He said, when you first came home, about maybe a couple weeks after you got there, Stacy wanted to shoot you in the back of the head. That's why he got behind you. I said, what? He said, yeah. I said, okay.
So of course, during the late 80s and into the early 90s, Nate Boone Craft worked with the Best Friends and others as murder for hire on the streets of Detroit. And in this particular story, he's talking about what went on during the period when Best Friends was coming to an end, culminating in a massive RICO. So Boone has struck a deal with the DEA. Now, Boone says it was to get revenge for them taking life of his brother. May be true. Boone certainly practiced what's considered dishonorable, but frankly, I mean, smart in a Machiavellian sense, get down first. Boone went to the DEA and said, I want to tell you about some people. And according to him, he's the one that kind of put the Best Friends on the radar with the feds of, no, this is an organized group. And he strikes a deal and he feels like the Best Friends are getting suspicious of him because he's not going out on hits. So one night they come to his house, they got him, and he feels like maybe they were gonna hit him that night at his house, but someone saw him go in the house, so he goes with them. They hit the target and they also hit an innocent victim, the cab driver.
Cause see, whether those two ever knew it or not, I was gonna do them in their basement, but they never knew.
Stacy and Boone?
No, Stacy and Chuck.
Oh, yeah. Why?
Because they were sort of like close to Boo at that time. So I figured if I do these two, that'll put Boo more out in the street, more out in the open without his little two hens men. So they took me over to their place one day. I'm sitting down there watching them, observing, see what's going on. Only thing stopped me from doing it because I had told the DA and them that I wouldn't kill anyone. But as bad as I wanted to kill those two and then wait for Boo to show up, then kill him, I said, okay, I said I wasn't gonna do it, so I didn't. I kept my word with the DA and them. I kept giving them information. Every time Boo and them gave me guns, I gave it to the DA. Lil Reggie gave me a pistol, I gave it to the DEA. Lucky gave me a gun, I gave it to the DEA. Boo gave me several guns, I gave it to the DEA. No, wait, no, back that up, I'm sorry. I did not give the ones that Boo gave me to him. They found them later in my place. That because I didn't have a chance to give it to them, because when I called them and told them something ain't right, something going down. That's when that incident happened with the cab driver. Then he tells me that, well, I wasn't supposed to have been involved with that. Well, I had no choice. Either go with them or they would have killed me right then and there. And I knew that wasn't why would you bring this many men to my house?
All right. You ain't never did that before?
They have never done that before. Boo have never, no one knew where I lived until Boo showed them. That's why I knew something was going down. But lucky enough, somebody else seen them come into my house, so that made them kind of nervous too. They wasn't aware of who the person was. But yeah, somebody seen them come into my house, so that's when they told me, okay, this man, we got this thing going down. This hit. Why don't you go with them and do this hit with them? Make sure that they get it right. And I ain't got no problem with that, dude. Shit. Dude hit my goddamn self. Don't need them. Well, no, because you messed the one up with Luck, and when your Luck went out, and Luck was standing like, I'm watching Luck and said, now Luck ain't never did that. Something ain't right. So at that point, if they would have did something, they wouldn't have, well, someone probably would have got out. But they wouldn't have got far. Because what they didn't know is that my friend was close by. But they wasn't
There. But it was around.
they wasn't in their house, but they lived, one lived next door to me. Somebody lived next door to me. That side, one lived at the other corner, the other one lived down on that corner of the street. That's why they kept, the U.S. Marshal kept talking about, well, who live in there? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I believe Chuck or somebody told them about my friends. You know, I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm giving up on him, booing them. Well, you promised to come straight. Yeah, come straight with Boone. Don't be trying to get me to give up other people, because that wasn't part of the deal. And I got contracts to that deal situation. I mean, I got contracts over there on that table showing what I said I'd give up. And that was best friend. Boone turned 5-0. So, yep, turned 5-0 on your ass. Because if I get a chance and bring you in this prison where I'm at, I'm going to do you. Because now I got to go to prison because of what you did to me. If anything, it should have been self-defense or that I got shot up, but they said that, well, that was a violation of my parole. Wait, the parole people was also in on it too with the DEA. They signed a paper to that fact that I could work with the DEA. But then when they found out, oh, 2 people was murdered, one was an innocent cab driver, true enough. The other fool, he was mixed up in this shit. Don't feel sorry for him. The cab driver, I felt sorry for, yes, true enough. But everything went down, and
So talk about how all those guys, or most of those guys, turned status too. So talk about,
well, they all turned state damn near. Like you seen in the newspaper article and the clipping in the court stay. They pleaded with corporation, meaning that they cooperated with the government and gave somebody else up somewhere.
So almost all of them dead. Or all of them dead.
So far, I don't know one that haven't cooperated other than,
Rocky Red.
no, Roger Red cooperated. That's why he didn't get the death penalty. See, they cooperated to not to get the death penalty. I ain't quite sure who they told on, but it was in the papers, the court paper document that, and I also was told by that from the prosecutor that he cooperated. That's why they just get life in prison without parole. They won't never see the day of life, but they don't want to go to see the death penalty.
Well, I thought we don't have a death penalty, though.
No, but you got to understand, no federal government ain't got it in this state either.
Yeah, but these are like,
But see, they was killed in the other states like Ohio, Virginia, California, Florida. They was all killed in other places that, you know, like they could have took them and sought the death penalty at. That's what they was planning on doing, especially up in Ohio. They got the death penalty, and that's where they was planning on taking most of them fools, because they know most of the killing was done up in Ohio too, as well, to Toledo and Lima, as well as other states.
did a relative of yours get killed by them in Ohio?
Yes, my nephew. He had got some drugs from them, and once again, he was selling drugs from them.
Is your young nephew? He's relatively young at this time?
Yes.
20 or something.
He was in his 20s, mid-20s, when he got killed. Yeah, he was in his mid-20s when he got killed. But It was mainly because they also told him that, hey, we know Boone, your uncle. Why don't you tell Boone, which he sent me a letter later telling me that they want to know why am I doing this to them? Why am I turning 5-0? I got back with my nephew and tell him because I'm bringing them in here because of what they did to my little brother, which is your uncle as well. He was like, I know Uncle Boone, but you know, we was all into this light side, man. You know, business was business. Said business was business, but they didn't have to do that. They could have came and told me, and I would have paid out.
But they was murder crazy.
But they was hungry for murder. They would just love killing, instead of trying to solve it or trying to get money plus charge interest. They just said, well, hell no, kill him and make an example out of him for everybody else that tried this with us. That was what why I didn't catch him before he get in the cab. Y'all wait till he get in the cab, then you wind up doing the cab driving who had family and kids and so on. And I was always against doing anyone that ain't got nothing to do with it. You don't do somebody that ain't got nothing to do with it. You doing one person, that what the contract called for. You shooting innocent people, that bothers me. And it still bothers me as of today. That man lost his life and now his family had to be without. There's no turning back the hands of time. There's no bringing that back. I don't feel any regret for the person that had the contract on because he was involved in that lifestyle. Now that's on them. You're involved in that lifestyle, then you fair game to anyone and everybody because you choose to live that lifestyle. But for innocent people that's getting hit or messed up because of something that someone don't know how to do right, I tried to show these guys and train these guys on how to make the proper hits. Hit the person you're going after. Don't hit anyone innocent. You going around spraying everybody, spraying into a crowd of people. What's saying that you're going to get the guy you're going after? You spraying everybody. You're getting everybody else but the food that you're supposed to be getting. And I done seen that happen many times. Guy walk into a crowd and just spray the whole basketball court. They're only looking for the two guys, and two guys didn't even get hit.
When you say train, you mean you like
I taught them how to,
like your little classes type things, or?
Well, we had a basement as well as a little place out in the country where we used to go and practice shooting and so forth. And I set up things and I tell them. If
You took Reg and Bug and all them out there?
Bull. Reg was more of a in the house than the basement.
Oh, okay.
Showing why, yeah, because Boo wanted to go out farther. He wanted to shoot the big weapons. Basically, that was his thing. They loved the 44s and 45s. That was a little trade thing for them.
What were you partying, or not partying, but hanging out with them a lot, or?
I just
socialize?
I didn't party or socialize with anyone in them. Most of the time they would call me and tell me that they want me to come somewhere with them. And I always tell them what's in it for me. Got to be money involved. I don't go to parties and bars and lounges. See, that's how people get shot and killed. That's how the brother and them got shot and killed. Going out partying, hanging out at lounges, knowing somebody gonna see you, call your enemy up. Hey, such and such person is over here. Bang, they go over there. Bang, they shoot them up. Then they wonder, man, how the hell they do that?
So the heart of the best friends, the most ironically named criminal group in U.S. history probably, was the Brown brothers. There were four of them: Gregory, Ezra, Reginald, Terrence. And Gregory and Ezra, aka Ghost and Wizard, they were lost their lives early on. In late 1986, I think Gregory or Ezra was killed, and then during his funeral a week later, Terrence and the other one, Gregory, Ezra, whichever one didn't get killed the week prior, they leave the funeral in tuxedos, and they're walking either to their car or to a bar or something, and they get shot up. I mean, people were really out to get them. And the other brother dies right then. Terrence, aka Boo, aka Boogaloo, was so physically resilient. Remember, all these guys are like 6'2", 250. And they were young at this point. They're like 20, 21. He takes a bullet to the head. His brother's dead. He takes a bullet to the head. The Detroit Police Department at that time still had the 7th precinct was open right there on Gratiot and Mackey. Makes it over to the precinct. He's going to pass out, so he picks up a brick, smashes it through the front window of the police station. They come out to get him. He lives. And then, of course, after that, that's when they had the infamous meeting and they say we're going to kill all drug dealers. But we'll get to that later.
Well, I had my own guy follow me. That's the way. They were sort of like, if anybody take me out, they would take the people out that was trying to take me out.
How did those guys ever? You don't have to say who they are. Did they ever get?
No, they never got caught up in none of the bullshit.
And they're around.
They still around. They still my friend. And they know I love them. That's why I never gave them up. I didn't give up nobody but them, best friends. They the one that brought this to me and killed my little brother. They wouldn't have did that, we would have still been out there. Even as of today, we probably still been getting it on. But Boone was paranoid and ignorant.
Where they was people talking about Reg and Boone was probably getting high too.
Rock and Reg?
Yeah.
But he was getting high off of acid and liquor.
Not cocaine.
No.
Not here now.
No. I have never seen Reg take any cocaine. I've seen him drop acid, him, Mark, and all them drop acid and shit before they go on the shooting spree.
Wow, that's crazy.
Boo, I've never seen Boo drop acid. Matter of fact, Boo, I can say I've never seen him even do anything but maybe drink. Because he had a habit of always putting people down that did use drugs. Just like we used to put people down like, whoa, we're a junkie and this and that. We're junkies. Away from me, don't trust you because y'all sell anybody out. If you're using, you ain't got no money, you'll sell your damn soul for that drug.
Going back, when you this is outside here, but it's talking about Detroit. So when you went in prison in the late 70s, heroin was probably the main kind of drug. You get out, 82, 83, whatever.
That's what
did you know, talk about, not even necessarily you, just take us back to that time and what Detroit was like and seeing how crack, just and cocaine just took over. What kind of things you saw.
Well, heroin was still the thing when I got out in 82, 83. And by mid-83, that's when crack became aware of around the east side of Detroit. I got a small amount, which was an ounce. They showed us how to rock it up and so forth, how to cook it up and chop it up, and basically told us, well, you can sell these for this much, this for this, so forth. I'm okay, that's easy. I did it, went out and sold it, and it sold so quickly because basically when we sold it to a couple of people, those same people kept coming back within minutes. I'm like, man, you just got this. Yeah, man, but it's gone, man, I'm out. So I had to do more investigation on it. Man, how quick can they get rid of this shit? They said, man, they put that on that little foil, light it, it's gone. But that high that they get from that little sack or so, they need it more now because it felt so good to them. I was like, okay. So I went back out there the next day, I was selling more. The same people kept coming. I'm like, damn, man, we're making more money just selling to these, like 3 or 4 people right here alone. Now, this thing, we put it out throughout the neighborhood, throughout the city.
Is that where you took the hit on Orleans Street? Did you get raided on Orleans? I just saw that in the paperwork. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
No, I remember. I wasn't selling drugs out of my house.
There were just drugs being stashed or you were keeping. It said they found 23 packs.
Yes, but it's more complication to that. My wife at the time was stealing behind my back. The drugs there was hers. She stole it from me and she was selling to some of her friends. That's why I never knew that shit was there, because I never had anything there. That's why even when they found my scale, there wasn't no drugs on it, because I did use that scale for my business, because I did own the business. No, I never wiped it because that was something. That scale was never used. The place where we did our drugs from was on Buffalo. That's why I said when they raided that, I ain't worried about nothing. They ain't got nothing coming out of there. But they found the scale. They tested that, couldn't find nothing, no type of drugs on it. But they found the package in a little small, in a little small container. And that's when my ex-wife told me about it. I was like, well, I was selling to, you know, the girls up on 8 Mile, this and that. I'm like, oh, you were selling something behind my back? For what purpose? You got money. I was giving you money. She was doing this to be, I don't know what his karma was, but I guess to me, she just wanted to do something, I guess, because she had nothing else to do with her life. But they arrested her on that charge. At that point in time, the lawyer was telling me that your wife's scared, man. She might talk. I said, what? So Boone had told me to hit her. He said, man, you better hit her, man, because she know too much on us from us coming over to your house and shit, man. I said, she ain't got to be hit, dude. Everything going to be worked out fine because I'm going to take the rap for it. He said, what? I said, yeah, everything going to take the rap. I want you to understand the tell over the minds. Because, see, basically, I didn't really even live there. We were split up at the time. That's why they couldn't find nothing in their house belonged to me.
They sure wasn't my...
I wasn't living there. I lived in Old Buffalo. So I was like, they raided that house looking for me, and the warrant was under my name and everything. But then they found out later that I wasn't there. The place was in her name, everything. I was, why? Because we wasn't together.
Buffalo, that was weird. Now, what Chambers was heavy in that area, weren't they, or not yet?
No, this was way after the Chamber brothers went down.
Oh, this was after. This was like 90 or something. Because they went down in 88 things.
What's this, 89? 80, no, wait, 87. I think it was one time they went down, but they wasn't on Buffalo and 8 Mile.
Oh, okay.
It's Buffalo and 8 Mile. The area I'm talking about is Buffalo 8 Mile. That was my area. 8 Mile, 7 Mile, and State Fair. That's why I got mad at Demetrius when I came home. He put his crew through all that. And I know, man, you talking shit about what you ain't gonna duck me or this and that you ain't scared of me. I ain't ask you to be scared of me. But you gonna move your millions out if I want my area back. Oh, man, ain't nobody scared of you. You ain't got to be, Holmes. Only thing I'm telling you is that if I want this shit back, you gonna move it out. But at that time's point, I wasn't even thinking about getting that back. But I told the DEA what was going down. They didn't believe me, I'm assuming, because they didn't have nobody present at the time when the shooting jumped off, even though I told them what was going down and this guy was going to be killed. And they didn't understand and didn't believe it. So that night, I wind up in the hospital all shot up, and then they didn't really realize that until later when the Detroit police broadcast and shit, and then I called them up and told them where I was. They said they'd send somebody over to see me. Then they said, well, basically, you broke the deal. I said, I didn't break nothing. I didn't shoot and kill no one. But you was present. I said, had no choice. Y'all didn't come there to arrest them at their house. If you came to the house and arrested them guy with the guns, we would have never left the house. I'm on parole. You could have came to my house anytime you goddamn want to and kick in the door and say, we come in here because he was on parole. We believe that he violated something. We just happen to find all the other guys in here with guns. That's where they would have wiped out most of the best friends that way, at least the hitmen's part. They would have got all the hitmen's right there and one out. That guy would have been dead. The cab driver would still be alive. Which he should have been still alive. They would have paid a heel to me when I kept telling them. I believe that they gonna hit me. My exact word to her, I believe that they gonna hit me. Or try to hit me. They were like, no, you just being paranoid. I said, no, I don't be paranoid. And I ain't never paranoid about that. But they came to the hospital, told me, well, we're going to need you to sign this contract stating that we're going to sentence you, though. We can't let you walk now. We're going to, charge, weapon charge on you because the state going to charge murder charge on you. They ain't going to let you go because you're on parole. I said, wait, but I got to sign paper from the parole giving me the authority to work with y'all. But murder was happening, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, man.
So the fever when you work with the feds, they still playing you. Yeah, I mean, they still playing you. You got shot, though, Alan. I mean, he got shot in the same incident.
Yes.
So I'm a victim.
And I took a lie detector test to prove what happened, that I was telling the truth, which I passed. And they were like, well, okay, yeah, but still you was involved. I said, only because I didn't have a choice. If y'all would have did what I said, I would have had, I wouldn't have been involved. Everything would have been still going on. Y'all could have been still making drugs by from Boone and them until you get them on drug charges. But y'all could have got him on murders too, because I would have spoke on that with my immunity. I would have told you the murders that he did like I did on my lie detector test, which I took for him to show that Boo was the trigger man behind that.
Is he the one who killed Big James at the St. Regis? And that was Red.
That was Reg. Boo might have said Wolfram, because see, Boo never really spoke. I wasn't with him at the time when that went down, but Boo never spoke on anything he did. Boo tried to keep, like I said, Boo kept his mouth shut. Most guys, they do shooting, they run back to the crew. Yeah, man, I did this to that nigga. You should see me the way I shot this nigga, the way he was jumping and begging for his life. I'm like, you shouldn't be telling no one to do after you do something. You do it, that's the end of it. Don't speak on it again. Because now you just told these guys, now you got somebody that know what you did. If anything ever go wrong, they can flip on your ass. Because why? You gave hostage to them because they know what you did. That's why with my crime, y'all never knew what I did. Only thing you knew is that you hear Boo or Reggie and them talking about what I suppose they did, but they wasn't there. They would only say, well, yeah, we sent Big Boone after that motherfucker, man, and this is what we heard. He say, she say shit. You ain't heard it from me. You can't nobody prove any shit on me.
Talk about how many in witness protection so that people got it twisted about this Stop Smith. I mean, a big percentage of people at a high level in the drug game, whether they're the dope man,
you got Kingpin, Mobster, Top Mobsters, Sammy the Bull, all them motherfuckers was in there. When I was in there with Sammy the Bull, White Boy Red, several other ones, Fat Cat and all them and shit, because I got them on papers, their full names and shit.
Talk about how funny I heard, just how weird, or just, reconnecting with White Boy Rick and talking about, hey, it was business, it wasn't personal.
Well, basically, when I got to Phoenix, I don't know if y'all can print that. They probably won't let y'all print that.
Okay, I won't say nothing specific.
On where the place is at.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I got to the witness unit where he was holding White Boy Rig at, he had to sign me in. You had to sign anybody that comes into them units. You get to look at their pictures and see if you know this individual or whatever, and then you can sign them into the unit. Well, he seen my picture, plus he knew ahead of time I was coming, because they called him and told him. At first, he didn't want me there. So they told him, well, basically, either that or you get transferred. So he signed me in. Same way with the other guy. TA. I can say his initials, because that's what they go by in witness unit, your initial. They don't go by your name. You don't use your name in there. Sometimes they even give you alias names, but you ain't supposed to never let nobody know your real name. They even give you numbers from other states, like the number I got is from San Diego. They give you numbers from different states so nobody can find you from the state that you're from or whatever through your number or whatever. They be looking for you in a Michigan number. My number is not Michigan. But when I got there, White Boy Rick had signed me in, and next morning I met with him and told him the deal was, I said, man, did this, man. I know what happened at the state prison. You thought I was coming in to hit you, which was true. But here, I'm not down like that no more. Excuse me? I'm just like you. I'm a snitch, a turncoat, a fink, or whatever people want to call me. But I call it getting back at the niggas that killed my brother. So, I mean, I could have gave them tons of people of different organizations and so forth, but I didn't. I gave a best friend because they was the one that was responsible for my brother and me getting all shot up. But he was like, yeah, man, but I'm just, nervous that you might be trying to come in here, because y'all know how y'all do things. I said, well, they don't do things like that no more. The whole game has changed since you've been locked up. He was like, well, man, I'm just saying.
What did you mean by that?
Is this do with us? I said, did this, man. It was business. Wasn't nothing personal. When you and Roy got shot up in your car, man, okay, true enough. I was there, but It was business. And I didn't even know Roy was in the car until it was too late. That's when I realized that my brother-in-law was doing the driving. I was like, damn. Then when he called my wife and told her, Boone just shot all of... No, of course I ain't going to say, oh, yes, I did that to my old lady. Don't know, it must have been Boone in there. Because you know how me and Boone looked alike. Because my old lady, she had to believe me at that point in time. But later on, she found out that I was, and she hated my guts for that. I guess she still hates my guts. I don't know, but I hold no grudges against her or ill feel, even though she tried to testify against me. But what she was going to testify against, I already told the government that I was involved or behind or dead.